of the Community and Environment Committee of Bingham Town Council. It's the 23rd of March. The first item on the agenda is to receive apologies for absence and any acceptance.
All present, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. That's excellent. Are there any declarations of interest from anyone? Oh, Councillor Shelton, you're muted. Councillor Shelton, you're muted.
I'm going to declare an interest in item 7 and draw on that one.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 3 is to sign the minutes of the meeting held on the 26th of January. I think I've had a good look at these and everything is covered on this tonight's agenda, really. So I have a proposer, please.
I'll propose that, Madam Chairman.
I'll second it.
Thank you, John Lewis and Councillor Lewis. Sorry.
No, you can call me John.
If are there any votes against? They take it as everybody agreed, please.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Right, we'll get down to the nitty-gritty, and tonight's agenda is quite, I think the phrase is meaty, lots of interesting ones on. So item 4 is to receive an update on outstanding decisions and consider further actions. The first one to cover tonight is the wildflower planting. Would you like to update us, please? Thank you.
Yes, the ground on the bank at the front of the cemetery will be starting to be prepped this week. The ground staff have got that on their list of work to do. The wildflower seeds have been slightly delayed, which I think council were advised of, but they will be with us in April. So as soon as they arrive, the ground will be already prepared, ready for the seeds.
Lovely. No comments. Right, item the next bullet point is the proposed tree planting at Parsons Hill. Councillor Stockwood, you went to that meeting. Would you like to update us?
Thank you very much. We met with representatives of Barratt David Wilson, and I believe that the outcome is that they've given us permission to talk to Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust about what project, agreeing a project for increasing the biodiversity on Parsons Hill and the landscaping that will be done. So they've formally written to us to give us that permission, and now it's for us as a council to contact the Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust and arrange a meeting with that. So that's in progress, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Any comments from anyone?
Yes, if I may, Madam Chairman.
Councillor Lewis.
Yeah, I was just wondering which tree planting this was going to be. Is it going to be in addition to the trees that are at the side of Archer Lake, of which there are only 8 left, or is it going to be somewhere else?
Councillor Stockwood.
This is about the landscaping of Parsons Hill, the west side of Parsons Hill, from the public footpath down towards the industrial buildings. So it's not relating to the landscaping around Archers Lake, which is part of the development, the approved plans for the development. This is a proposal for enhancing the landscaping of Parsons Hill above and beyond what's in the planned landscaping from Barratt's David Wilson at this current time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think Councillor Best is about to ask a question, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Do you want to speak, Jane?
Yes, please. I'm just interested to see what actual plant trees are going to be set. What trees are they going to be huge or bushy or?
At this point in time, it's an improvement to biodiversity. So that can be tree planting. It can also be areas of planting wildflowers or meadow grasses. So if you remember, the top of it's the west side of the top of Parsons Hill.
Yeah.
So there's quite a big area there. So I don't think we're expecting it to be entirely covered with trees, but I think there's an opportunity there for a number of different sorts of things to go on, but there's no trees named yet. Okay.
No, I just didn't want anything too dense because it's a bit on its own by itself all alone.
Councillor Best is just commenting that she doesn't that we need a mixture of landscapes treatments in that area.
Right. Okay.
I hope you can pick up.
Well, all proposals are very welcome, and it is something that obviously this committee is very interested in, trying to make more trees in this area. And you know, as I've commented before, Rushcliffe has less trees coverage than most of Nottinghamshire. So the next bullet point is the CCTV status, and I believe Joe has got an update on this, please.
Yes, it's just to make the committee aware that the introductions between Newark and Sherwood and our current CCTV supplier have been made. So it's just a case now of them talking about the systems we've got so that Newark and Sherwood can come back to us with more information, but the introduction has been made.
Thank you. So we're waiting for information. And I think you've got an update on the rural gigabit broadband scheme.
Yes, I have. The office have struggled with this one a little bit, of people not coming back. So they made contact with Callum, who obviously came to the committee with the scheme, and he described that it was oversubscribed, and that was maybe why we weren't getting the responses back about moving forward. We're obviously going to run out of time with it closing in a week, but there has been information from the clerk that there is talk that it will be relaunched because it's been so well received and oversubscribed. So we'll keep the committee updated when we have more information on a relaunch.
Thank you. So that'll be, we must keep chasing this one. That'll be on the next agenda. The next bullet point is the J9 training. Staff were hoping to take this up. How is what's the update on that, please, Deputy Clerk?
The staff, or the office staff, including myself and the clerk, are booked on the training for the 22nd of April. So the four of us will be receiving that training, and then we'll move forward at that point with signage and information for the website after the training's taken place. Thank you.
I'd just like to confirm, I've been in touch with Boots the chemist. The other scheme that's nationally being run, especially in chemists, is the Ask for Annie campaign, where you can go into chemists that are displaying the sign, and Boots in Bingham is, that you can get similar help if you need it. You just have to ask for Annie. So, you know, all these different schemes, the more publicity they get, the better for anyone in that unfortunate position. So Litterbins is next, and that's another update, I think, as to, we asked for at the last meeting that this would be worked upon.
Yes, it went forward to Recreation Amenities. The Windhill bin is proceeding, and a lidded bin will be obviously chosen. I believe that's in hand on order this week. Recreation Amenities did ask at this time why plans were unfolding at Buckfield for that bin not to be ordered yet in case of it being placed in a wrong location at this time. So that one's just on hold at the minute, although there is support for another bin there. But the Windhill bin is in hand, and I'll update committee as and when that's installed, hopefully in the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm. Can I ask if there's been a delay in emptying them at all? Because one or two people have complained that they're overflowing in several parts. Any information on that? That's very, very recently been put to me.
Our bins have been emptied as they normally would. We haven't received any complaints at the office, but if you let me know the locations and I can find out whether they are our allocated bins. There are some areas where obviously Rushcliffe and ourselves have bins in the same location, so I can look into that for you, but we haven't had any complaints received at the office, and our bins there shouldn't be a delay on them. They've been emptying them at the normal time. So
thank you. Councillor Shelton.
On that particular point, I've had comments that it doesn't seem to be as good since Elvis left. People complain to me about the bins not being emptied as regular.
Right. Well, that was some considerable time ago that it left, and there is a major reorganisation at Streetwise, so I think we'll be awaiting events on that. Thank you. And the final bullet point under item 4 is, has the letter gone for the support for the area of outstanding beauty?
Yes, I can confirm the clerk has sent that letter on behalf of the committee, yes.
That's lovely. That's of particular interest to all those in the Vale of Belvoir. Any questions on any of those? So we can move on to item 5, which is to receive the minutes from the Emergency Plan Subcommittee meeting held on the 16th of March. Okay, Andrew, I think that's Councillor Shelton, that's you're muted again.
Yeah, at that meeting we did the final appraisal of the plans, subject to a few points that the Deputy Clerk mentioned to me this morning, to do in another matter. The document that we're coming up in item 6 is ready for adoption without the few amendments which the Deputy Clerk will highlight to you when we come to that. I move those minutes.
Well, I think we're all very pleased to see this going forward. I don't think there would be any objection, so we agree this, recommend it for full council. Finally, however, under item 6, I have got a couple of items that need updating, and I can pass those on to the office, so that they can be pursued. Sorry, your sound's fading, Andrew.
Sorry, is it phone numbers that's wrong you're referring to, Madam Chairman?
Yes, there's one phone number, and page 17 needs to be updated. Thank you very much. Has anyone else read it through and got any suggestions that anything needs amending? I mean, the problem with organisations that might be willing to help, phone numbers do change and people change, but it's just a document that has to be kept up to date and looked at yearly. So we're very pleased that that is going forward. Thank you. Item 7 is to consider the request in support of a community no waste food shop at the old courthouse.
Madam Chair, could I just have a formal raising of hands on the recommendation of the emergency plan, if possible, just on the previous item, so I can put it on the full council agenda for approval?
Right. Is
Thank
that okay
you,
with
Roddy.
Jane?
Yeah, I prefer to abstain on that because I wasn't on the committee, and I don't want to comment on the plan. So I'm not voting on that one, I'm afraid.
Okay. Well, I hope you've read it through.
Yeah.
We've all been sent a copy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Right, this we've moved on to the community no waste food shop at the old courthouse. I'd first like to say, you know, I did email members how we would wish to give support for this excellent and worthwhile group, but it's up to the office to be arranging the logistics of it, and actually, as far as most of the decisions to be made, this is something that should be handled by the Policy and Resources Committee. But for this evening, I would wish us all to be giving that support. As you know, that is what I would like this committee to do. Councillor Lewis.
Yeah, I have actually, as you will be aware, Madam Chairman, already expressed my strong support. So
yes,
I will repeat that. That support if you wish.
Similarly, I have heard and from others, and you know, people are nodding on their screens. So I think there's full support for that. And we wish it well as it goes forward, subject to things being arranged at the old courthouse. If P&R meets in Policy and Resources, I should say, meets in a fortnight's time, I believe. So that will be progressed there. That's a recommendation from this committee that it is, you know, passed on to them with our support, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Noted, yeah.
Thank you. Item 8, to receive an update on the public engagement survey to identify wayfinding signage improvements. I think you've got another update for us, Deputy Clerk.
Yes, we obviously have been trying to engage with the public via the website. There has been no comments received by the office so far, but I believe the clerk has placed something in the next Buttercross article with reference to this item as well. So hopefully we'll be able to report back some responses from the public, but nothing as of yet.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be, that is being progressed. Thank you very much. Item 9 is to receive an update on the flood warden scheme. We've had a very long, email on it. Make sure I get up to date with all my papers. And we seem to be progressing that, and I'd like to thank Neil, Kevin and Rowan for all their assistance in, they've all done the training. So that is progressing. But of course, any assistance that anybody else wishes to do the training and assist would be very gratefully received. So that's 2 groundsmen and Councillor Bird that have progressing this at the moment. Any comments from anyone? No, that's straightforward then. Thank you very much. Well, it might be a long agenda, but so far we're just past the halfway mark. Item 10 is to consider arrangements for the civic awards. And I think we're still in the position where we have to carry this over. Still a bit, excuse me, uncertain about the future. As regards when we can fully meet, it looks as though it probably will be, excuse me, into July. Before, excuse me, while I have a drink. If over the next few weeks anything changes from the government about changes to, I think it would be good if we could be updated at full council. But other than that, we'll have to delay it until the next civic year, into hopefully as soon within that we can meet.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that, if I may say so.
Yes, thank you very much. I haven't got anything, seriously wrong with me. I just have a little bit of catarrh at the moment, which makes me cough sometimes. Item 11 is to consider a request to support local businesses by providing tables, chairs and parasols at the marketplace. I think we have a bit of an update on that from the Deputy Clerk.
Yes, obviously councillors will have received the email. I've obviously queried with Rushcliffe the request that's been made, which was just in general of whether we were providing any support as we did last year with tables and chairs for the marketplace. If the committee remember, we paid £1,040 for the hire of tables and chairs. Number 16 purchased their own. These were supplied to the Circle Eatery, but were unused as they didn't end up having the staff and the capacity to put them out each day. At the moment, Rushcliffe have confirmed, obviously number 16, as we all know, have their licence for the marketplace. But there is a licence application that is going through at the moment for butlers, and I believe that's where the question has come from, if there's anything similar to a previous year that the council may be willing to offer. But at this stage, I'm unaware if they've looked into business grants from Rushcliffe themselves.
Thank you. Is that very clear to everyone? Because different grants keep coming online, and especially for town centre businesses, to support them. And rather than using our resilience funding, it could be that Rushcliffe from the County Council via the government have something that we could tap it, that could be tapped into for butlers. Could I ask the clerk, have butlers got a licence?
The licence from last year is, I believe, being reapplied for, but they're waiting for paperwork at Rushcliffe, so it's not officially confirmed and stamped yet.
Okay. Right, thank you very much. Any comments by anyone?
I have raised my hand, Madam Chairman.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that, Councillor Lewis.
I do recall that when we were talking about this as a proposal, not this time, but a bit later in the year, last year, we were talking about a number of different options and different sorts of furniture. And one of the options I seem to recall was that rather than spending quite large sums on hiring, we could maybe think in terms of buying some for ourselves. And there were issues around where the stuff will be stored and who will get them out. And I just wondered whether we might want to revisit that idea of purchasing some, possibly, as you say, with some kind of grant funding support, or whether we're just going to consider hiring some as last year. I mean, I'm fully in support of the idea of continuing with this idea of a continental style marketplace with tables and chairs and parasols, etc. And there was some thought or expressed that perhaps we should suck it and see last year and see how it went down before deciding what to do on a longer term basis. And the impression I have is that it's gone down very well indeed with the local community. So I'm just wondering if this is something we might want to put to the full council to see if we'd like to have Bellissimo Bingham, as Councillor Purdue-Horan eloquently put it, in years to come.
Well, I think there were the logistics of storage expressed last time. Individual shops do wish to, or establishments do wish to have their own. The one that's applying at the moment, Butlers, have no storage facility whatsoever. So that is a question of storage. I can't see that we, well, I can't remember that we were actually considering buying any for the council to keep in reserve for each year. You know, and all support to the two establishments, number 16 and the Young Sing, that made so great arrangements for last year off their own bats. Obviously, every business actually in Bingham have already had grants to assist them in this current time, and we welcome that. But I think we need more information on this particular request and look to the future and ask P&R really to really consider this, and I think they will have more information as to what was supplied last year and what the arrangements were. Could I just ask the clerk, where did we store what we hired last time? Or did Elizabeth?
The Circle actually stored them. As I say, they didn't actually get them out and use them. We didn't store any at the old courthouse. Right,
that's fine. We'll put that one to P&R then again with the committee's permission, and take that further there.
Sounds sensible to me.
Right, thank you. Item 12, to consider the status of the summer fair. Well, I've had notification from BCE that they are looking to work with us again, and they want to arrange a meeting with myself and you know, a couple of representatives from the council, as we take this forward, as and when we know we can't have a load of people on the marketplace, which is at the moment is still a bit up in the air. But certainly at the moment, the date that we normally have is out of the question regarding government conditions for lockdown. So it would be thinking about another date, and how, you know, we could negotiate with the with BCE as to what their lead-in time would be required, through Elizabeth, of course, who organises all of it. That you know, they may need several months to, if they do pick another date. Has anybody else had any thoughts on this? No. So at the moment, we will put this down as I will meet with perhaps the mayor and have a discussion with BCE as to the way forward that we can. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Item 13 is to receive an update on the need for residual current devices, RCD, and consideration for the Christmas lighting display switch on. Sorry, I read that incorrectly. Yes, right. Well, we've had a paper on this as well, and might be a little bit confusing, but we did speak at the last committee meeting about what was required, about the cost of converting everyone for their own things, and we put money aside for their own contact points. I don't know what they're actually called, but this is specifically about when we have the Christmas lights switch on. Well, I'll go back to the beginning. When the lights are put up, whatever the date is, we normally have them on from as soon as they're installed. And personally speaking, this is a personal view, that adds to the build up to Christmas for everybody that they're on. But the actual Christmas tree, obviously, it's formally turned on at the Christmas fair or whatever ceremony is appropriate. So God forbid that we don't have a third wave over next winter. But anyway, whatever we can organise around Christmas about putting the Christmas tree lights on, do we want it to go as usual, that the lights are on as soon as they're installed, but the Christmas tree lights are switched on at some sort of ceremony, which we usually have? Councillor Stockwood.
Thank you very much. I've read the report. I'm happy to recommend the expenditure on the RCD protection, which I think is listed as £1,005.
Yes.
And I move option A, to have the Christmas lights switch on as in previous years at install, and only the Christmas tree will remain unlit until the Christmas fair. I do think the Christmas lights coming on every night as soon as they're up does brighten the town centre throughout the dark winter nights. So I think it's a positive that is happening, and I support the expenditure to make sure that we can have the lights, which apparently is needed with regard to the RCD protection. Thank you.
Thank you. That's formally proposed. Is there a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Councillor Wayne Stapleton. I've got the wrong glasses on tonight, you know, to read in your names. You want to vote on that then, Deputy Clerk? All agreed?
Yes.
Thank you.
Councillor
Is that
Best
all right
says
with
yes as
Jane?
well. Yeah, Councillor Best said yes, didn't you, Jane?
Yes, I did.
You hear her?
Thank you. Yes. Yes,
Okay,
loud and clear. Thank you very much. I'm just turning my page over again. To note the report, sorry again, from the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group on the work completed to the point of its dissolution in December 2020. It does actually say Neighbour Plan Steering Group. It should be Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group on your agenda. We did note it last time, but we've had the opportunity to read it this time. It's quite a long document, and you know, obviously it's in abeyance at the moment, but my proposal will be that we keep it on file, ready to reinstate as and when it's considered appropriate to do so. Councillor Lewis, you indicated.
Yeah, I think you've actually preempted what I was going to say. I have read this document. It is a substantial report. It's of great importance in my view. It does contain some recommendations which I think are fit to be considered by this council. So I'm in agreement with it being in abeyance at the moment, but I do think that it is something that we may well to consider at full council, whether we want to revive the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Committee and try and bring the whole thing to fruition. That's it.
Okay, that's a proposal. Is it seconded? Councillor Stapleton, do you wish to speak to it?
Second it. Did you say second it? Yeah.
Right, thank you very much. So
Can I just
I would just like to record from this committee that we thank those members that have worked on it so far. It was a big project. It is a big project. Normally, neighbourhood plans take 3 years at least to come to fruition. There's a lot of consultation to be done, and they did have difficulties in keeping a group together, actually. So, you know, I'm not suggesting that it goes fully onto the back burner, but we've got that proposal, and I think Councillor Stock was indicating he wishes to speak to it.
Thank you very much. I was on the Neighbourhood Plan Steering Group initially as one of the Town Council representatives. You know, the group is dissolved not just because of the difficulties in that they were having in meetings and in consulting the public, but also because they felt that there's a number of changes that need to happen or progress needs to be made on within the planning system in regards to other documents that are coming forward. So when you say it needs to come back to council to consider recreating this group, I think there has to be a period of time where some of the preconditions for improving the circumstances for the group to move forward with a neighbourhood plan are addressed, and that's about some of the progress being made on the local planning authority's local plan and the Greater Nottingham strategy. And I think some of the changes to the national framework that's talked about within the document will come to fruition in the next over the few months. So you're quite right to thank everybody who's been involved in the work of the plan, to keep on record the work done so far, so that it's not lost. But I think there's some changes need to be happening before it comes back to council to recreate the group and move forward. So yeah, okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, Councillor Lewis, you wish to come back?
Points of information, Madam Chairman. According to my information, you remarked that it takes at least 3 years to prepare a neighbourhood plan. As far as I am aware, Bingham the parish of Bingham was designated as a neighbourhood area in around July 2017. So it has been nearly 4 years already. So if circumstances permit, it would be timely to start thinking in terms of bringing the plan to fruition.
Right, well, we've had that recommendation. Do we have any amendment to that? Because it seems to me that the next meeting, Councillor Lewis, is going to be the full council at in May, and that one is heavily bogged down with governance issues. So I think it needs a longer run-in than you are anticipating. Councillor Stockwood, you wish to come back?
Councillor Lewis has qualified his statement by saying when circumstances permit. Just point out again, I think there's about to be another local plan consultation in May. So it may be that in the months ahead will become clearer. But it is the content of the report that some things need to change before there's any real progress can be made for moving forward with the neighbourhood plan in Bingham. So I think we'll take on board what Councillor Lewis is recommendation, including his own words that we need to it needs to be taken action needs to be taken to move things forward when circumstances permit. Okay.
I don't differ from any of that.
Sorry?
I don't dissent from any of that.
Oh, thank you very much. As I say, I am on the local development framework at the borough, and that is consulting, as has been said, over the next couple of months, and then it'll be about September before we can look at it again, really. So
we will keep an eye on all the progress that's being made nationally, locally, and county-wide.
Yeah,
and we'll bring it back with an action plan for recreating the group when there's a clear, some of the issues that's caused the dissolution of the group are addressed. I think that's the gist of what the recommendation is wanting to have happen. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. Any dissent from that?
No.
Jane, in agreement?
Councillor Best?
Yes.
Thank
Councillor
you.
Best is all right with that one?
Yes, I did hear her loud and clear. She's
Yes.
Technology.
okay tonight. To receive any councillors' reports then, as we go forward. Anybody been to anything that they wish to report on? We get things through here. We're on to item 16, which is correspondence. Sorry, Councillor Stapleton.
Yeah, sorry. I've been on a couple of dog walks, and the plant towers have been pulled out and thrown all over the place. We've spent a couple of moment, picking them up and putting them back. I did ask for the CCTV to be looked at. The first, no joy. Didn't hear back about the precinct one because they seem to have carried the plants through the precinct and dropped them outside of Boots. I just wondered if the CCTV picked them up outside of Boots. Has it been looked at?
Can the Deputy Clerk answer that, if possible, please?
I can't give you a definite answer. I'll check with the clerk. I'm aware of this situation. I have to say, I think the camera direction faces the other way. So it depends where they were, but it certainly looks down, so they would see them walking up. But I will check if that was checked for you, Councillor Stapleton, and get someone to email you back.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. So on correspondence, I think we've got a couple as far as I know, and the first one is from Councillor Mooney, and she's also on East Bridgford Parish Council, and she decided that they have decided to campaign for a new cycle path from East Bridgford to Bingham. This is in answer to numerous issues such as youth services, transport, safety, and aims to accept the offer in Bingham's community plan to become a hub for its surrounding villages. Would also like this to correspond with the opening of the new leisure centre, if at all possible. They've approached the county councillor, and who is unable to be here this evening, and but Councillor Mooney is here, and we are really, I think we have in the past supported this, and we'd like to support it again as far as I'm concerned. There will be great, it reduces the traffic and all that sort of thing, but we need to fully support this, write to East Bridgford Parish Council and say we are in support of it, and we will do what we can to further it, and we'll contact Highways to ask them again to consider this and put it in their plans if possible, but that will have to be done through the county councillor. Deputy Clerk wishes to speak.
Just to note that this is obviously an item of correspondence, so it's great to get a steer from the committee that we can give that initial steer of support to them, and then we'll probably put this on the full council agenda so that we've got an official decision there that we're supporting it, but we can give that initial approach that the committee are supporting this as a steer to them, that we will show that support rather than it being a formal recommendation at this stage as it's correspondence. If that's okay with the council.
Yes.
To support that.
Councillor Mooney has appeared on the screen. Would she like to add anything to that? Welcome.
Not really. I'm very pleased that you're all in support of it. Hello, Councillor Lewis. I am very pleased you are all in support of it. I do think, although it doesn't answer all our questions in East Bridgford, it does answer quite a few of them. And with a lot more houses coming to that end of the village, which would be connected to the cycle route, obviously it's less cars for you guys too. But it is mainly to help with youth services in our villages. It's to help them be able to safely get to things like the leisure centre and other things that you have going on in Bingham that we just can't provide in East Bridgford, for them to get there safely and to get home safely, because there is no other way at the moment. So yes, thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. We've seen the way forward, and I believe we also had another one from Mr. Sparrow about access to open spaces. My own answer to that is we have here in Bingham quite a degree of open space. We're on the edge of the countryside. we have all the new lake and that pathways there, and the linear park has long been available to people. This is specifically an issue that was found for people who have no rear garden or no garden at all, some houses. So yes, of course, we support that sort of thing. But I think in this area, for this council, we have quite a bit of open space for people to enjoy. Even if it's just walking up my road, which is very, very popular for walks these days compared to the type of footfall it had in the, well, the number of footfalls it had in the past. Any comments from anyone else on that one? Right, well, before I move to confidential business, which is the next item, I'd like to thank councillors for their support over this past year on this committee. This is the last meeting for us before the annual council. So thank you all once again. And, you know, it's been greatly appreciated what we've done. I think we've addressed quite a bit over the past year. So well done, everybody, all of you. Thank you. And I'm now moving confidential business. Resolve that in view of the confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, the press and the public be excluded for the remainder of this meeting. Thank you.
Agreed.